Today we're going to talk about the best supplements I currently use with my ADHD patients. Now, if you don't know who I am, I'm Dr. LeGrand. I grew up with ADHD and dyslexia and have been successfully be able to naturally manage my ADHD without using medication. And now I help adults all across the world, helping them manage their ADHD without medication, helping with their focus issues, memory issues, and so forth. So the very first thing that I want to kind of discuss about when it comes to knowing what are the best supplements, especially for my patients, it really comes down to investigative work and doing lab work first so that we can find specifically for that individual of what they need specifically. So I'm going to go over just some case studies of the things that I see as a common trend that keep on creeping up over and over again that I see that's deficient and help me decide what are the best supplements for ADHD. So the very first one is there's a case study here of checking out some amino acids that I do see tend to creep up more and more, and that has to do with serine levels. So serine is very important for memory. So if you have memory issues, you forget all the time, forget where you put your keys, stuff like that, which is very common with people with ADHD, a very common symptom. A supplement that can be very beneficial, just like with this patient, is phosphatidylserine. Now, this only will really be effective if you have found and discovered that your serine levels are depleted. And so once we implement this patient didn't have the issues of forgetting where he put his keys or where he was going. Those kind of like that working memory, that short-term memory issues that a lot of people with ADHD do have. Another big one that I do see as a great supplement to use with my patients and clients is looking at more specifically what goes on with a lot of people with ADHD, which is, dopamine, but more importantly, tyrosine being depleted. So tyrosine is definitely one that helps build L-DOPA, and then L-DOPA helps build. So L-DOPA. So you got tyrosine helps build L-DOPA, and then L-DOPA helps build dopamine. That's required. So a great one that I like to implement is Dopa Boost. And because it's addressing tyrosine, L-DOPA, and dopamine, all three of those. It has N-L-tyrosine. It has mucuna which has L-DOPA in it, as you can see right here. I'll highlight that. So right here, you can see that. Has that in there. The other thing it has is green tea extract, which does help with improved dopamine levels. And so all of these are great. The other thing I'd like has is vitamin B6, also known as the activated form as P5P. And that is really important for building and modulating dopamine. Okay. So this is one that I use pretty frequently with a lot of my patients when I do see that their levels are going to be deficient, just like this person was, in tyrosine and dopamine levels. Okay. Another really great one that I do find that tends to be an issue quite a bit is this right here, phenylethylamine. So again, we would have to test this to see, okay, are you deficient in this? And when this is deficient, you could see it's at the very beginning. It's an excitatory neurotransmitter at the very beginning of the dopamine process. So it's really important that we look at everything and not just dopamine as a possibility issue. So with this patient, their dopamine levels were fine, as you can see right here. They were just fine, right in range, right in a healthy range. So there was no issues there. Their tyrosine levels were also not an issue, but their phenylethylamine levels were low. So what do we do here? So there's two things I do like implementing. So one is here is DL-phenylalanine, which is an amino acid that does help make PEA, phenylethylamine, or you could take phenylethylamine directly. So I do that sometimes too, and that can also be really beneficial to improving not only focus and motivation, because it is the very beginning of the dopamine process, but sometimes I have found it for myself, especially DL-phenylalanine, to help a lot with that short-term memory issues. I find that this is a very common thing with ADHD, even myself included, and I was deficient in phenylethylamine. And so when I implemented it, I noticed that I didn't have to constantly go on my phone and forget what I was doing on my phone. Like I actually knew what I was doing. I could track my steps back, or I wouldn't be driving down the road. I'm like, where am I going? So I didn't have those issues, which was great because I implemented something that I was deficient in, and as well as with this patient. Okay. Now, another great one that's also really important to look at is things such as like your norepinephrine levels, like this patient levels were low, and epinephrine. So this has to do a lot more with stress and can really impact your mood. Same with also serotonin. Serotonin will help you make you feel a lot more depressed. So there's definitely going to be some concern about going on with impacting your ADHD because depression also can impact your motivation and drive as well. So we have to be careful here to understand that sometimes the medications that some people are taking don't address certain things. So if you're taking ADHD medication, it isn't going to address per se serotonin. So that's why sometimes your doctor might actually recommend a antidepressant because it also can show up as ADHD symptoms. That's why a lot of people get misdiagnosed quite a bit, and it's tricky. But when we can actually do some testing, we can truly know what is deficient and really what's going to be most effective for you. Just like with this patient, because their medications was not working because the things were being not the right things were being addressed, right? Because their serotonin levels were low, not necessarily their dopamine. And so the big ones to incorporate here is if we look at the serotonin pathway, there's a few things that we need to implement. One is being 5-HTP that helps build directly serotonin. Then you have tryptophan, which also helps build 5-HTP. Then it all in return can help also improve serotonin levels. So these two are really great. Not only help improve serotonin, helping mood, but also can help improve sleep because ultimately melatonin is what helps us sleep. So that's kind of like the very end of the whole pathway there. L-theanine is also another great one that's going to help with serotonin, but also help with norepinephrine and epinephrine. So that's going to be a really, really great one to implement when we see these levels are low. Okay. Makes sense? All right. Now, another thing to also keep in mind is there could be other things that could be elevated instead of actually decreased. So with this patient, that's what they were experiencing. They were both on an antidepressant and an ADHD medication, but they felt significantly stressed, high anxiety, agitated, and still had their focus issues. So what were the best supplements for them? Well, when we investigated what was going on, clearly their dopamine and their serotonin levels were too high. And so things were getting worse on the medication. So what do you do in this situation? Well, let me point out a few other things before we get there. Is there was also their GABA levels were elevated, which can also cause agitation, irritation. Their epinephrine levels were low, so it wasn't helping managing their stress. So a few things that I do like to incorporate, which I do see this pretty common as well with people with ADHD, and these are going to be the best supplements to implement when you're in this kind of case situation, is what I love about L-theanine is it helps because you said, well, I thought this helps when it's low. It also helps when it is elevated too. It's a great neutralizer. That's why I like L-theanine a lot because I use it pretty significantly because if it's high, you could use it. If it's low, you could use it. So it's a great neutralizer there. A rhodiola is another one that can help lower down these levels too. So that's another one, really great one. And then B complex. With this patient, we did find that some of their B vitamins were low. And if you remember and recall here, let me erase these a little bit, is you could see right here, P5P, that is the activated form of vitamin B6. It's required to go from tryptophan to 5-HTP to 5-HTP to serotonin. Okay. So if that's deficient, it makes it become an issue. And so therefore you can see those levels being elevated because it's not helping breaking it down and utilizing it. So that was another thing that we had to incorporate. And that's a very common one that I also will usually need to use as one of the best supplements for my current patients I'm working with. Okay. Now, another thing to also address is looking at, okay, is there other possibilities of hormones that could be in play with the ADHD situation? And so ultimately, you know, this patient, they were exhausted, they were unfocused, and they were stressed. And here's why. So you can see on this graph, this is a cortisol graph checking for 4 different readings, one first thing in the morning, afternoon, early evening, and late in the evening. Okay. Now, what you can see here is that their cortisol levels are really low first thing in the morning. Okay. But things change in the afternoon. They spike. Probably should use a different color here. Spike right here. Okay. So, what this person was experiencing is that they would have low energy in the morning, first thing in the morning, but then at night they would feel really stressed. And in the afternoon, it would start kind of creeping up like in the afternoon. And this explains a lot from their lab test. So, what do you do in this situation when you are kind of up and down? There's two things that I like to incorporate. First, we need to address, okay, the low energy situation, the cortisol being low. And so you only will use the adrenal desiccation first thing in the morning. That will help increase those levels, help with energy, but you don't want to be using it in the middle of the day because now they're spiked. So what do you do in that case? You use something like Cortisol Manager in the afternoon and early in the evening. And what I like about Cortisol Manager, it has things like ashwagandha, it has magnolia, which is really great for helping lower cortisol and managing cortisol levels. Okay. And this helps him relax drastically. So when we implement more of these things, not only does energy improve, but he felt less stress, not as exhausted, and he was able to focus more because he wasn't so stressed and so exhausted at the same time. Okay. So sometimes it could be just as simple as that when it comes to looking at the best supplements that are going to be very effective for your ADHD. But it requires investigative work. So it works for you specifically as an individual. And so, if you would like to get, the same kind of results that like many of my other clients have, I'd love to help you out, because doing this alone, it isn't easy because the body is so complex. We got to understand what are the challenges that you are facing specifically for you. And so here's why I say that, because you need help to find the source of your imbalances, and you need a understand, why do you have these specific symptoms? Not because you just have ADHD, but what is going on in your biochemistry that could be out of balance. So we need to understand really what's going on there. You also need a customized plan that's specific to you, that's going to work because it's tailored to your own imbalances in your biochemistry. And then, of course, you need someone to analyze and adjust that treatment plan so it can be fit with your lifestyle, so you can actually be accountable and that it'll become effective. Okay. And so here's exactly how I can help you out. So my health experts have set aside a time to speak with you personally to help you start getting results right away. And it's called the Focus Mindset Strategy Session. So in this Focus Mindset Strategy Session, we'll put together a specific plan for your situation to help you have better focus so you can excel in life. And so here's exactly how we'll do this together. First, we'll uncover what is behind your ADHD symptoms. Why do you have the memory issues? Why do you have the focus issues? Why do you have low energy? Why are you so stressed or depressed? Whatever it is, the case may be, it's your blind spot, something that's never been addressed in your medical history. And I guarantee it because you probably have not had the right kind of lab testing to identify really what's going on. And it's most likely what you've just never been told. Okay. And so then, we'll customize a plan that will get you unstuck to discover really what's going on. And then finally, we'll determine if it makes sense, for us to work together more closely. And so the Focus Mindset Strategy Session includes is you get a one-on-one with one of my health experts. It's a 45 minutes one-on-one personalized strategy session. That's normally a $750 value. And then if you do purchase today, you get also access to our nutrition lifestyle tracking app that I use with all my patients and clients. And that's a $300 value. This is how we actually track and identify the root causes, whether it's sleep issues, blood sugar levels. We track that. We track for foods. We track for lifestyle, different changes. And looking at the micro and macro nutrient deficiencies. So this is a great app to be able to track that as we can identify and do the detective work of really what's going on with you specifically. And then you get access to my HD health course. So this is a way to be able to implement great lifestyle changes as well as standard labs that if you haven't done them before, what standard labs actually could be beneficial. So again, you'll get access to that if you do purchase that today. And so what you get, again, is a 45-minute one-on-one personalized strategy session with one of my health experts, access to our nutrition lifestyle tracking app, and then a bonus access to my HD health course. And a total value of $1,647. But you get that all today for just $297. So all you got to do is you just got to click on the link in the description below. Once you click that link in the description below, you'll come to this page. You will purchase. Once you purchase, is very, very important. you still need to book your appointment. So please don't forget to book your appointment. Some people will do that. So it'll take you to this page. You'll book your appointment. You need to book your date and time. Please pick a time that is best for you and your significant other. If you have a significant other or spouse, please pick a time that works best for you, because we do like to understand the outside perspective of your challenges with your ADHD or focus issues. So please pick a time that they are present. We do require that. Once you've done that, then fill out your name, info there. And then this is really important. Please do make sure to check your email to confirm your appointment. Also, to activate your Practice Better account. This is how you get access to the nutrition lifestyle tracking app, and as well to fill out the client questionnaire. That's very important to fill it out before your appointment, so that me and the health expert can look over that to putting together your customized action plan together. And then, of course, uploading labs, any standard labs. No intense functional lab testing. It's just look at your standard labs to give us a more idea of your background, of your medical history. I say in the last year. I don't know why it says 2 years here, but usually in the last year is usually sufficient enough, and it isn't a requirement. And then you need to block out 45 minutes to an hour. Sometimes we might go to full hour if you have more further questions. So just block out a full hour if necessary, and then show up early. We do give you a 10-minute grace period, so please do show up on time. That's what you need to be implementing. So if you are interested in finally tackling your ADHD and understand the root cause of the issues, to not only find the best supplements for you, but also what's actually going to get you the results to finally unlocking your true potential with your ADHD brain. So if you're interested in that, I'd love to help you out. So go ahead and book that call, that consultation with one of my health experts in the description below, and I'll see you guys all in the next live stream. Thanks. Bye.